Hello everybody and welcome today to today's presentation of the World Online Racing Championship Keystone Corner GT3 Challenge season opener here from Watkins Glen International. This is the GGR Challenge here at Watkins Glen International, so make sure you go check out GGR Leagues. Go message them on Instagram at ggr.leagues if you are interested in competing in their upcoming off-season series in the winter. They have a Jetta Road Course series coming up. They also have a Super Speedway series as well. Those are running Tuesday and Wednesday nights. I believe the time is about 9 p.m. Eastern time, so if you're interested, those time slots fit you, you're looking for a league that runs the Volkswagen Jettas or a Super Speedway series, head on over, message them on Instagram at ggr.leagues. And once again, thank you to Ethan Harrison and GGR for sponsoring today's event here at Watkins Glen. As this is the season opener, these guys are sitting here in qualifying. About 4 minutes left in qualifying. We see 7 drivers have put times down. We are currently on board here with Ryan Martin in the 9. He is putting down his second lap. I believe this is going to be his flyer. And we'll see where he jumps up to on the charts. Looks like he will stay P8. Had a little bit of an issue there in qualifying. We have about 15 drivers here tonight for the season opener here. And we have a little bit of a different format that's going to be coming up here for tonight. We have a sprint race that if you're familiar with Formula 2 perhaps, that's probably the biggest thing that you'll notice is that we will be having the Formula 2 sprint race and feature. It's inspired by that. So these guys will load into the sprint race. The top 3 finishers will receive points. First place will get 10 points. Second place will get 8 points. Third place will get 5 points. So top 5 who start the feature will be inverted. So that'll be also exciting as well. There's a chance there's 2 sprint races tonight due to something going on with the iRacing lobby. We are not 100% sure yet what the issue might be. But it looks like it may divide this field into 8 and 7 for 2 sprint races. So some good opportunities for some of these guys to get points to start the season. It is a 6-week season. The following tracks for the rest of the season will be as follows. Laguna Seca next week, and then Daytona the week after, Road America, Long Beach, and Road Atlanta as the finale. Um, so, excitement arising. I mean, this is going to be a fun race. I think I'm really excited for these GT3 cars. If you're not really a fan of road racing, you think, oh, maybe road racing's a little boring. You're in for a treat tonight with this sprint race. These guys are going to have points on the board tonight, and it's going to be exciting here. It looks like we've only got one car on track currently, and that's Jay Mulder sitting at pit exit there, and the number 51 Dunk Pools Lamborghini. About a minute and a half left of qualifying. Let's go over some information for tonight. Track info. We're racing at Watkins Glen International, located in Watkins Glen, New York. This track has 12 turns. We are running their boot configuration. If you're familiar with Watkins Glen more on the NASCAR side, this is a little bit of a longer track, and it's actually the same circuit they run in the 6 Hours of Watkins Glen event that runs in real life. So if you're familiar with NASCAR, you'll know they've got that bust off. They go through the carousel. Well, instead of going all the way around the carousel, they actually end up going straight, which leads into a little bit of a tight left-hander. And then you go up a straightaway, go to a right-hander, another quick right-hander, down another straightaway, and then a right-hander. And then you get a really tight left-hander back onto the circuit that most people are familiar with. So these things run about, as you see there, pole time currently sitting at a 1:46.5. That's Wayne Castile in the 8, making his first ever road start here in the World Online Racing Championship. We're sitting at an altitude of 445 feet. I know this track is just south of the famed New York Finger Lakes. Weather for today's event, it's actually a fairly warm one here. We are not in December in sim, I can tell you that. We're sitting at 87-degree temperatures outside, track temp of about 98 degrees, so it's a pretty warm track. 11-mile-an-hour wind speeds, mostly cloudy skies. And here a nice afternoon at the Watkins Glen International Speedway, Raceway. I'm not really sure what the full name is here for Watkins Glen. Once again, you're watching today's presentation of the Keystone Corner GT3 Challenge. Make sure you go check out the Keystone Corner. He is the series sponsor for both road series here in the World Online Racing Championship. Make sure you go check him out on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/the Keystone Corner. TheKeyKey. Oh my goodness. STONECORNER. And make sure you go check out tonight's race sponsor, GGR Leagues.
I absolutely suck in these cars.
As here's some race communication there. Ryan Martin, not very happy. I should probably mute driver's chat. Rookie mistake here from me. Nevertheless, here we go. We've got these guys up on the grid, and we're going to go ahead and look at our grid for tonight's event. Starting on the pole for today is going to be Wayne Castile to his outside. Of course, everyone knows him. He's a pretty veteran road racer here. He's your WORC all-time wins leader. The 02 of Josh Patterson with Dynamo Racing. P3, we have the GT3 Season 1 champion. That is Brian Zinn in that 73. And to his outside, we have Garrett A. White in the 26. Row 3 inside, we have Sean Giroux. To his outside, we have Quentin Haley in the 13. Then we have Christian Visconti lining up 7th. Nick Pena to his outside to round out the top 8. We have Ryan Martin in 9th. Jay Mulder 10th. 11th, Blake Kennedy. 12th, Hunter Collier. 13th, Paul Granata. 14th, John Canizaro, and rounding out the field in 15th, the fan favorite, Henry Klappert. So the sprint race here, as I mentioned, will be a shorter event here. Alright, sorry about that, folks. Had a little bit of a mic issue there. Anyways, welcome back here. As I was mentioning that sprint race, it's going to be a little bit of a shorter race. It'll run about 8 laps here for tonight's event. As you see, there's a mix of different looking cars here. These GT3s, there are 8 different choices on the iRacing sim service. Looks like we have a good mix. Our top 2 are in the Mercedes AMG cars, so that'll be exciting to see. Brian Zinn is in a BMW, Garrett A. White in a Ferrari. Looks like Sean Giroux, one of many in a Lamborghini. That seems to be the popular choice for the season. Quinn Haley, he's lining up in a Porsche. Christian Visconti in a Lambo. Nick Pena, he and Ryan Martin are going to be the McLaren duo this season. Jay Mulder in a Lambo. Blake Kennedy in a Lambo. Hunter Collier in a Lambo. Paul Granata in a Lambo. And Henry Klappert also in a Lamborghini. John Canizaro is in an Audi. He did not take the grid for tonight's sprint race here. So we're going to be set up here, folks, for 8 laps. That'll run about 27 miles here with an average lap time of about 107 seconds. 107 seconds, of course, converted into minutes is about 1:47. So these guys have a lot on their plate here at the Watkins Glen International, one of America's most famed race circuits here. Top 3 score points in this sprint race here. 8 laps the distance. So for the next I don't know, let's say 12-ish minutes, maybe? We will figure out how these guys are going to perform here. And man, I am excited for this one. So, Josh Patterson in that 02, as we've mentioned, he is your WORC all-time wins leader. He's known to be really good at the road courses. Throughout the admin team privately, at least, he is definitely favored on these road racing circuits. But that driver, the 02, believe it or not, does not have, he doesn't have a WORC championship in general, but he does not have a win when we come and run these sports cars here. He never won the GT3 series, never won in our multi-class series either when he was running an LMP2 for those. So Josh, I mean, really, his only road wins were in that Skip Barber series or whenever we go to a road course in our NASCAR series. or our oval series in general whenever we throw a road course on those schedules. So that 02, he's looking for a big win tonight here at Watkins Glen. As we mentioned, he and pole sitter Wayne Castile rocking those Mercedes cars. Wayne Castile is a rookie here in WORC this season, driving the number 8 for the entirety of the Winter Series. He's been rolling in the Oval Series on Thursday nights. I believe he's made both events so far on the season. So this is his first look at a road course with us, and maybe we have an early look at what Wayne can do whenever we hit the road course in the Dynamo Designs National Series. If you aren't familiar with the fact that we've been running so far this Winter Series, that's because we are broadcasted on several different networks. It's actually going to be, as far as planned, the only event this Winter Series broadcasted on WORC TV. If you remember, we broadcasted every event of Winter Series last year. The main reason for this, we've got two broadcasters to cover all three series, really. On the Asphalt Oval side of things, we have Bueno Racing Network, KBRN on YouTube. Make sure you go check them out and subscribe. They broadcast the Dynamo Designs National Series every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And then OSR Network will be picking up the rest of the coverage for the Keystone Corner GT3 Challenge, as well as the Keystone Corner MX5 Cup Challenge that will follow this series once it concludes. And they also will cover Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Time still, the Limeade Media Dirt Late Model Tour. So that starts this Tuesday night. That'll be on OSR Network, also on YouTube, as well as Facebook. Make sure you go check out Bueno Racing Network, KBRN, and OSR Network as well. Pace car pulls off. Green flag will fire, and off we go. 15 GT3s off here for the 8-lap sprint race. Everyone trying to go for the same real estate here early on, as Wayne Castile will lead him into turn 1. Brian Zinn's got the inside lane. Josh Patterson, who is outside Brian Zinn. Garrett White, Sean Giroux round out the top 5. Everyone makes it through turn 1. And this should be exciting here, going through the S's here at Watkins Glen. Always a very racy part of this track. Some of these guys didn't really get much time in practice. Ryan Martin, Henry Klappert, a couple of those guys. Meanwhile, back up front, Wayne Castile continuing to lead here into the bus stop. Zinn and Patterson side by side. Patterson will get in line behind him here. We'll see if everyone gets through the bus stop. Looks like Quentin Haley, he makes a key pass on Sean Giroux. He's into the top 5 early in that 13 machine for Dark Horse Racing. Back through the carousel, everything. Oh, we have a wreck. Looks like Ryan Martin around in the 9 machine. Doesn't look like too much damage. He just got a little bit of contact exiting the carousel. Looks like Christian Visconti, he's gone around into the inside wall in that 80 machine. So his sprint race off to a interesting start early on here. Back up front, Brian Zinn got by Josh Patterson in that bus stop. He's continuing to pull away here as these guys are all in a line here down the straightaway. And Wayne Castile leading early on. He might lead his first laps here in WORC. I don't believe he's led any so far in the Oval Series. And look at that beautiful racing line here as everyone trying to arc their corner back into this left-hander here. Flames fitting out of the 50. Oh, Garrett White around off the front end of Quentin Haley. Oh, Paul Granata around as well. That appears to be a loose corner. Henry Klappert is going to hit Paul Granata, who just merged back on the racetrack. Paul Granata just did a barrel roll, and Ryan Martin is going to gain about 3 positions. We watched that whole thing live. Granata got loose and then just merged on the track in front of Henry Klappert. Not really anything Klappert could do there. And that all started when Garrett White got loose in front of Quentin Haley, and I believe Haley couldn't check up in time. Got into the left rear. And so that'll suck for Garrett White. He'll have to come from the back in the feature here, as he's racing right now with Ryan Martin, but he's got some heavy rear wing damage. So we'll see how Ryan Martin is able to bode in that McLaren machine compared to Garrett White's damaged Ferrari. Klappert looks like he got some front end damage. Luckily, the Lamborghini, if you're not aware, is a rear engine car. So he didn't actually take any engine damage there with that hit to the front. Paul Granata, we saw him barrel roll, so he's going to be out of the sprint race here. He will probably make a return for the feature here. As the top 3 have started to break away a little bit, but Quentin Haley, Sean Giroux, and Nick Pena not too far behind. And Jay Mulder also still kind of there as well. Hunter Collier and Blake Kennedy side by side here through the right-hander. Looks like Kennedy will clear him here with the preferred lane in his Lamborghini. And Brian Zinn, he had an issue. The driver of the 73 went around Looks like just a little bit of a self-spin got a little loose there, and that will cost him some positions. That'll move Patterson to second. Haley to the top 3 here. And that's crucial. As I mentioned, those top 3 pay points. So Brian Zinn, Garrett White, both were in up towards the front there in sort of positions to get points here. And now early on, it's looking like Haley, Patterson, and Castile are in position to get points. The 2 Mercedes and the Porsche here. Sean Giroux 4th, and Nick Pena up into the top 5. And that's crucial too, because that McLaren, he would be starting pole position for the feature with the top 5 invert here. So lots of factors playing into this. Going to be an exciting race here as we have a little bit of a 3-car battle. Kennedy, Collier, and Zinn. Looks like Collier backs up his corner a lot. Zinn wasn't really prepared for it. Now Zinn runs off a little bit in turn 1. Garrett White with that rear wing damage got by Ryan Martin. Visconti has gotten by Henry Klappert, who has ended up in pit road. We're going to pull up the WORC replay and see if we can find what happened to Henry Klappert, as I'm not really sure if we'll find it or not. Looks like no, he's still in pit road there. We're going to have to rewind a lot here. So this is in the boot. Klappert, as I mentioned, had no practice here. It just runs it wide a little bit, gets the curb, gets on the brakes. Oh, hard hit. And he put that one in the garage. So unfortunately for Henry, that will move him back. And Quentin Haley, he had an issue. It must have gotten loose or something. Looks like he's rebounded. No damage on that car, but that 13 drops back to 6th. Sean Giroux and Nick Pena in a battle currently for P3. That's for that final points paying position here in the sprint. Pena's got the inside preferred lane. Side by side here. Nick Pena in the 52. Sean Giroux in the 964. These guys going at it for that podium spot here. And it looks like Giroux is going to clear Pena here. Pena's actually got a run here off exit. He's all over the back bumper of that Lamborghini of Giroux. Now Pena to the inside in his pink, white, and black URP McLaren. Flames spitting out of the back of that thing as these guys go side by side here into the final corner, fighting hard for that points paying position. Nick Pena backs it off for now. Looks like he's going to try to get the run back on the inside of Sean Giroux. He crosses him over here down the front straightaway. Pena versus Giroux. It's a drag race to the line. Giroux will win that one, but Pena's got the preferred line entering turn 1. One of the most popular braking zones. Giroux really pinches Pena down there. Takes the runoff there, and it looks like Giroux will clear Pena for now, but that 52 looks quick, and behind him, Jay Mulder looks quick as well in that 51, and Quentin Haley, we saw he has some pace as well, just a little driver mistake there, so he definitely has a chance at it here. Pena looks to the inside on the curb there through the S's for a moment. Now he's side by side with Giroux again. Jay Mulder all over the back bumper of Pena and Giroux. He's going to back it off there. Pena's got the preferred line in the bus stop. He gets it. Jay Mulder around the outside in the bus stop of Giroux. And, oh, Blake Kennedy, a little bit of contact there. Kennedy sliding, and he will come to a spin there. Some tight racing in the bus stop. Looked like he may have gotten into the left or the right rear of Quentin Haley maybe, as they all kind of stacked up as Haley went to make the move. Jay Mulder just spins himself into the outside wall. Looks like he's back going again. He must have looped it around. But some tough luck for Kennedy and Mulder, as Kennedy with some damage there. Meanwhile, Josh Patterson has slowly started to reel in Wayne Castile here for the lead, as that battle is pretty crazy. Here looks like we got a battle for 4th. Brian Zinn makes the move to the inside of Quentin Haley. He will outbrake Haley. Haley's going to get a great corner, though. He's going to look to cross back over on Zinn. Looks like it's not going to quite happen here, though, as both these guys have ran in the top 3, shown some top 3 pace. And so I'm expecting the 13 and 73 to try to work their way up on Nick Pena. Hunter Collier tags the outside wall there off exit. I believe he'll be okay, though. Paul Granata is cutting the course, and he's spun out. I'm not really sure what the 04 was doing there. Back up front, Castile continues to lead with Patterson and tow. These top 2 have pulled away with lots of mistakes happening behind him. Nick Pena, speaking of mistakes, he's fallen back to 8th. He had a self-spin right there. And Ryan Martin all over the back bumper of Blake Kennedy here, as this is the battle for a top 10. And Christian Visconti, he's rebounding quite a bit as well. Kennedy with some front-end damage. Ryan Martin, he had some damage after an early wreck. Visconti's got some damage, so lots of driver mistakes here, battling in the bus stop. Here they are for P3. Quentin Haley got a good run off exit of the S's down the short chute right here into the bus stop. Zinn will clear Haley for the moment, but these two going at it here for P3. Giroux in that final invert position there. Looks like Mulder, Pena, And Garrett White, he's actually rebounded quite well back to this pack up into P9. Makes you wonder what he would do without that damage. As Patterson and Castile very close together here for the lead. You don't generally see that in these road races. That's the excitement here of having this sprint race right here. As Zin, Haley, very tight knit here for that final points paying spot. As a reminder, first place pays 10 points, second place pays 8 points, third place pays 5 points. Those are going to be very crucial in a championship here, as winning the feature will only pay 30 points, excluding the possibility of bonus points being added in there. So these are definitely some points that will help you throughout the season here, and with it only being 6 races, it's going to come down to every point matters here, and every start matters. These guys will get 1 drop week, so they'll get points for 5 of the 6 races, so they do get a chance to miss a race, or if they make all 6 races, they're really going to try to benefit from that. You know, maybe a guy, he finishes 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Obviously, he'll drop that 5th race after week 4, which is the drop week deadline, and then they can go out there in those last 2 races and have a lot better chance in the points compared to the guy who may be a little bit higher in points, but he's finished third, you know. So right now, Josh Patterson, he's actually on the back wing of Sean Giroux. He goes into the bus stop very aggressively here, makes the right-hander, makes the left-hander. These guys bumper to bumper for the lead here with 3 laps to go. The 2 Mercedes dueling it out here. Dynamo Racing's Josh Patterson and Wayne Castile in that F1 livery, transported onto the Mercedes GT3. Back here for 3rd, it's still very close between Zin and Haley. Giroux has kind of fallen back here out of 5th. So a battle for the lead, a battle for 3rd on the racetrack here. As the rest of these guys have kind of sorted themselves out. Henry Klappert and Paul Granata have pulled it into the garage for the sprint race here. So Castile versus Patterson for the lead here, coming to 2 to go this time by. Man, this is going to be an exciting finish, I feel. As the battle for 3rd, Haley to the inside of Zin. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Looked like Zin kind of pinched Haley down. And we're going to see if we can pull up the WORC replay for that one, as I would like to see maybe what happened there. Let's pull off the replay here. This is down the straightaway. We're going to see Haley got a huge run into the corner. Ooh, that one's a little tough. We'll rewind it here. Haley, he was down there. Zin was going for more of an arc. Haley was kind of on the curb. And he had a really good entry there in that 13 machine. A little bit of contact there. That one might be on Quentin Haley. That's just, I mean, he was on the curb. I mean, there's not really much he could do besides brake. And unfortunately for Brian Zinn, that kind of takes him out of the top 3. So I imagine Zinn, he's going to have some wards after that one for the 13. As Zinn has fallen back to 6th after that incident there. As he'll try to reel in Hunter Collier. That moves Quentin Haley in a sole position of 3rd. He still had a Sean Giroux. Meanwhile, 2 laps to go here in the boot. That battle for the lead rages on between Castile and Patterson. Patterson, we saw make a little bit of an aggressive move in the bus stop to try to take that lead. Right now, he's probably playing it a little more patient here. As he gets a little bit of a better exit there off of that right-hander. Now down the straightaway. This is where we just saw Brian Zinn's spin right here in this right-hander. So, Patterson, he breaks early, really arcs his corner in there a lot better than Castile. Off exit though, Patterson really loose, really trying to carry that momentum off, and Patterson, he's honestly playing it way better than Castile in corners. Castile gets a little too much curb there, moves up the track, bumper to bumper here as they head into the second to last corner here. The left-hander, followed by that last right-hander. We'll see what happens here. Coming to the white flag, 1 more lap to go here around Watkins Glen in the sprint race. Don't go anywhere, folks, because the feature, that comes up next. White flag this time by here in the sprint race. A lot of chaos has ensued here in this one, and it's down to a battle for the lead here. Castile gains on Patterson into turn 1. Through the S as they go, through the right-hander. Patterson, he's losing a lot of time. He seems like he's a lot better in those later corners after the bus stop, so we'll see if he can gain enough time there. He's fallen to about 4/10 back here. He's going to have some draft down this straightaway. We'll see what happens with this O2 machine. Castile versus Patterson. into the right part of the chicane. Looks like Patterson may have clipped the wall a little bit there, but Patterson gets a much better bus stop. He actually has to run wide there off exit. We'll see what happens here through the carousel, now into the boot. Patterson all over the bumper of the 8 car. And these guys, they're going at it here. This is the difference between 10 points and 8 points. Those 2 points could very well be the difference in this championship here at the end of these 6 weeks. Very, very crucial here. Patterson widens his exit. Now he'll get the run down the straightaway here for Castile. I'm kind of wondering, will we see maybe an asphalt style bump and run here? A little bit of contact. I mean, I've seen some bump and runs in IMSA races, so we'll see what happens here through the left-hander. Just 2 more corners to go after this one. A left-hander and then a right-hander. Patterson gets loose off exit. Slides it out to the outside wall there. 1 more corner to go. Will Patterson have it? He's on the inside. He sends it in there on Castile. He's on the below the yellow line. He has to back it off and give it to Castile. Patterson definitely had a huge run there. And when Castile will come around, he's going to win the first ever WORC sprint race here. Patterson flashes his lights telling him good job. Quentin Haley will come around. He will take P3 in that final points pink position. So Quentin will come home with 5 points. Sean Giroux and Brian Zinn will round out the top 5. So Zinn will take pole via the invert. Mulder, Collier, Kennedy, White, Visconti round out the top 10. Ryan Martin 11th. Nick Pena, he was up to the top 3 at one point. Finishes 12th. Granata and Klappert both pulled it off here. So your race winner for the sprint race, Wayne Castile. We're going to go into a quick commercial break, folks. Don't go anywhere, as right after this commercial, we will be into the feature event for tonight's race. Hello everyone and welcome back here to WORC TV following that commercial break, as an exciting sprint race there. Ultimately, we all come together here. We're going to interview our sprint race winner, Wayne Castile, before he takes the grid here. Wayne, you're in the WORC TV booth, buddy. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Well, you came home the winner of that sprint race, man, and I got to tell you, that was some great driving. You had to hold off Josh Patterson, one of WORC's I mean, he's the all-time wins leader, so he's definitely a guy you have to hold off there. Playing the top 5 invert here, you're starting from P5, but you had a lot of pace there. Do you think you have what it takes to get it done here in the feature tonight?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, as long as I can cleanly get through the first lap and follow Josh the whole way through, I think we'll be in pretty good shape.
All right, man. Well, you two put on an exciting battle there, the 2 Mercedes in the field, so we'll see you around, Wayne. Before we let you go, do you have anybody you want to thank for that sprint race victory?
Just God, realistically. You know, he allows me to be here every day to do fun stuff like this and put on a little bit of a show for you.
All right, well, congratulations on the sprint race win here, Wayne, and we'll see what happens here from P5 in the feature.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, folks, that was Wayne Castile, your sprint race winner. We're going to pull up the grid real quick here for the start of the feature. Never mind, we will not. It will not update, apparently. So, looks like we're going to have Brian Zinn on the pole, Sean Giroux 2nd, Quint Haley 3rd, Josh Patterson 4th, Wayne Castile 5th, Jay Muller will line up 6th, Hunter Collier 7th, Blake Kennedy 8th, Garrett A. White 9th, Christian Visconti rounding out the top 10. Then we'll have Ryan Martin, Nick Pena, Henry Klappert, Paul Granata rounding out the field. John Cannizzaro will not make the start of this event. So Cannizzaro in the 17. He will finish P15 tonight. So excitement as always here. I mean, 18 laps here for tonight's sprint race. That'll be 61 miles. So total, you put it together, these guys are running 88 miles tonight. So once again, this should be an exciting one here. I expect to spend about the next 30 minutes or so with this one. So this should be a blast. I am very excited to see what these guys can put together here. Should be some exciting racing. We had a lot of chaos here in that first race. So track info still the same as it was pre-race here. Weather looks like the wind speed's picked up a little bit, 12 mile an hour. Other than that, track temp and outside temperatures are still the same. So as I mentioned earlier, point system here, sprint race. Winka still takes an early point lead after that victory. He has 10 points on the season now. Actually, he has 11 points because he also took pole position. So pole position being a bonus point, he has 11 points to start this race. Josh Patterson took home 8 points there with P2. Quentin Haley took home 5 points there with P3. And your bonus points for the feature event Hard Charger Award, which is the person who gains the most positions. So sorry, Brian Zen, unfortunately, that will not be you unless literally nobody else gains positions. Let's see what else. There's most laps led. There's leading a lap in the feature, and then there's finishing the feature with 0 incidents. So those are all bonus points. So if you see some guys being really careful out there, maybe some guys who are a little, who can show top 5 pace, but maybe don't think they have a chance to compete for the win, you might see some of those guys out there trying to be a little careful, finishing this race with 0 incidents. So Zen, Giro, the front row, those two are teammates at Buzz the Tower Racing. Quentin Haley for Dark Horse Racing, he's technically my teammate, so you know, secretly I have some commentating bias. I'm rooting for him. Josh Patterson, P4. Most of you probably know him. He used to drive for Nova Sim Racing with Paul Granata and them. He left that team, started Dynamo Racing with Tyson Gifford, who was supposed to make his first start tonight. Unfortunately, not going to be here tonight. Wayne Castile, he's a rookie here in WORC. Jay Mulder, he's on Outlaw Racing this season. He made the move from Nova Sim Racing. Blake Kennedy, let's see, he left Outlaw Racing. He's on Kennedy Lockheed Racing. Garrett A. White, he's on Whiteout Sim Racing now from Nova. Christian Visconti, he's still on Outlaw Racing. Ryan Martin, he's still on the same team. Nick Pena, he's on a new team. Let's Turn 4 Motorsports. Henry Klappert still on Outlaw. Paul still on Nova. All these drivers, all these different manufacturers, they've all come together here tonight. 15 drivers here at Watkins Glen. For the next 18 laps, these guys will go head-to-head. No caution flags, just a run of endurance here in the feature race. For the next 18 laps, Brian Zinn will lead us to the green flag of the first one, as off they go here early on, and already some interesting starts here. Josh Patterson is going to go up the middle, 3 wide, 4 wide for the lead. Quinn Haley to the inside as well. Haley backs it off early on, and that was insane. Castile, he's trying to throw himself in there. Lots of aggression early on. 3 wide here, almost through the S's. Patterson to the outside of Castile. Castile already up to P2. Oh, Patterson turns Castile. Castile, oh, into the outside guardrail. They're wrecking a big cluster. Giro, Haley, Collier involved, Visconti involved. That'll end so many races early on here. A big, big cluster. And oh my goodness, Wayne Castile, he's off the racetrack. Quinn Haley's off the racetrack here. Garrett White, not sure how much damage he has. Chris Visconti, he's limping that thing around. He's had a unfortunate rough night. Nick Pena, Henry Klappert, they look fairly clean. Hunter Collier, he's got quite a bit of damage. Sean Giroux, he's got some rear end damage. He might he has some front end damage too. Oh, Hunter Collier just spun it out there. Paul Granata, he started last. He's up to 6th. Ryan Martin is up to 5th. Mulder 4th. Kennedy 3rd. Wow. That was absolutely insane. Unfortunately for Quinn Haley, that will end his day early. Castile, he probably got some engine damage from that whole mess. Garrett White, oh, he's got a ton of right front damage there. He's trying to limp that thing around. As you see, that right front tire is exposed completely. So a lot of rough starts to the season for some of these guys. Luckily, they get a drop week here. As Henry Klappert, he'll make the pass on Sean Giroux. And, wow. Paul Granata, 6th. I mean, Paul Granata started dead last in this feature race. He's up 8 positions off the start. Absolutely incredible. Ryan Martin, he's running top 5 here. So up front through the S's, Brian Zinn pulls out to an early lead here over Josh Patterson. And Patterson, he had that contact with Castile. And I imagine there are some angry drivers over voice comms, some guys saying some interesting choice words, probably angry at some certain people. Patterson, though, hanging on here with Brian Zinn. Blake Kennedy up to P3. He had that rough sprint race we saw. He made a little bit of contact with Quentin Haley, went around. Jay Mulder up to P4. And yeah, Ryan Martin out in the top 5. We saw he had an early spin there in that sprint race. And Granata P6. He's got a little bit of damage on the left side of that thing. So he must have been collected a little bit. But, I mean, he still came out of that fairly clean there in that 04. And that's a good looking 04. Nice blue and green colors. So Granata, I mean, he just keeps this car on track the next 18 laps. He's getting himself a really good finish. So I'm very impressed with the 52. A heartbreak for Castile and Quentin Haley. And the finished top 3 in that sprint race, and everything changes there. Garrett White, you see him pulling into the pit road now. Hunter Collier's got some damage. Sean Giroux's got some damage. So several drivers pretty injured early, and unfortunately for Castile, the guy he was racing for P2 there, for the lead, excuse me, Josh Patterson, he's still in this thing, battling for the lead here, as Brian Zinn in the BMW trying to hold off Patterson. He's got 16 more laps to do so. Kennedy 3rd, Mulder 4th, Martin still 5th. Paul Granata, he pulls it into pit road. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with Granata. So Pena will take over 6th. Henry Klappert will take over 7th. Klappert started 13th, so I believe he moves up into the hard charger position here. That's a big bonus point for that 34, if so. Not sure what's going on with Granata. Maybe he had some sort of meatball, but he seemed like he was doing all right out there. So Visconti, he's got some front-end damage. We saw him kind of plow into that. Not really by his doing, of course. That was just a huge mess there in the S's. So he will line up 8th here. Looks like Castile and Haley have pulled it into the garage officially. Hunter Collier, he'll roll off the track here. He's got quite a bit of damage to his Lamborghini. He'll see if he can get a top 10 finish out of this thing. Granata looks like he's being serviced here, so we'll see if he gets back out on track and he can hang on to a top 10. Garrett White looks like he's got quite a bit of damage to get fixed on his Ferrari. He was having a good run earlier today too. As we see a battle here progressing for the lead, Brian Zinn versus Josh Patterson. Zinn's currently holding off Patterson for now. As I mentioned, he was the Season 1 champion here in the GT3 series. And honestly, Blake Kennedy, he's making quite good time here behind these guys. He's about 4.5 seconds back. He isn't quite losing time, isn't really gaining either. And part of me wonders if Patterson, he's maybe getting held up a little bit by Brian Zinn. If that's potentially an issue for Patterson, but Kennedy unfortunately loses a few tenths there early on. And for a guy like Ryan Martin, top 5 finish here, that'd be really good for him to start the point season. He came into this thing. The only GT3 he owns is a McLaren, and he doesn't have much experience in GT3s. So Ryan Martin in that 9, he's just looking for some good finishes here. looking to put together a good season in a top 5. I mean, these guys, I mean, Haley, Castile, White, those are very fast guys who are finishing 12th, 13th, 14th. Um, you know, they've already had their bad race of the season. So for a guy like Ryan Martin, competing for the championship, even Jay Mulder, Kennedy, or a guy like Patterson or Zen, you know, these guys are front runners here on the road stuff week in and week out. Zen and Patterson and Kennedy, they can all really take advantage of these bad finishes for some of those fast guys. Whereas Mulder and Martin, I mean, they're both fast competitors in their own respective ways. In fact, Ryan Martin is actually running down Jay Mulder here for P4. We might have a battle on our hands for that, the Outlaw Racing driver versus the Ryan Martin Racing driver. But for these guys, you know, they're not having a bad race right now. They keep it on track here the next you know, rest of this feature race, and they're bringing home a good points finish and putting themselves in a good points position, which is exactly what these guys need after all that chaos there on lap 1. Sean Giroux is still on pit road. Looks like he's going to try to get serviced and get back out there. Paul Granata has just spun it out a little bit. Looks like he's still got a clean car, though. Henry Klappert, he's spun. He's fallen back to 8th. He's still on the lead lap, though. And I believe he's still in position for that hard charger. It's between him or Ryan Martin. Martin might have it here. I believe he finished 11th in that sprint race. So, I mean, that's a bonus point for the 9 car. And if he gets out of this incident free, then that's a huge bonus for him. So he and Jay Mulder, they got close there for a second. Looks like Mulder pulled away in the first half. Ryan Martin looks a lot stronger in the heavier braking zones. So we'll see what happens here between Martin and Mulder. Meanwhile, back up front, Josh Patterson aggressively exits the bus stop here as he's looking to gun down the leader, Brian Zinn. Zinn in his BMW, Patterson in his Mercedes. And Patterson, I know he's definitely looking to add to that all-time wins lead that he's built up here in WORC. I believe he has 14. He's actually in the grass there. Got himself a $1 million lawnmower heading into the right-hander. Blake Kennedy, kind of on an island of his own right now. He's pulled away from Jay Mulder behind him, but he's losing time to Patterson. Right now, your two closest battles on track are Mulder and Martin, and then Patterson and Zinn. As Nick Pena, he's spun around here in the left-hander. Looks like he's all right. We'll see if Christian Visconti gains time on him there. As Visconti, I caught a little comment from him, and he made a comment that he quote-unquote went superhero mode in that sprint race when he spun it out. So he's just trying to make it work here in the 80 as he tries to run down Nick Pena. He's actually doing so successfully. He's closed that gap to 4 seconds after the Pena spin. Henry Klappert, he's still 8th place on the lead lap here. Paul Granata still on track. He's running 9th. If Granata can bring that thing home top 10 after some obvious struggles here, I think that's a good day for the 04. He stayed out of trouble. Just keeps it on the track, keeps rolling. And he's ahead of Hunter Collier right now. Collier going through the carousel. This could be a battle for P9. As we see Granata just taking it patiently. Here he runs off the curb. Got a good corner here. Looks like Quentin Haley's actually rejoined the track. And he's actually gained some positions. He's running P11 here. So Haley looking to try to gain some points here. Back up front, Patterson still all over the back bumper of Brian Zinn. These two putting on a show here at Watkins Glen. As Patterson definitely crafting some good battles here for the entertainment purposes for you guys watching here on WORC TV. Just a friendly reminder, this is a presentation of the Keystone Corner GT3 Challenge. Make sure you go check out series sponsor, The Keystone Corner, on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/The Keystone Corner. Make sure you go check them out on YouTube as well at The Keystone Corner, and on TikTok at The Keystone Corner as well. I believe that's also his Instagram account. Pretty much you type in The Keystone Corner, you'll find him on social media. It's pretty easy to find. So make sure you go check him out. Drop him a follow, subscribe, whatever you might have to do. As Josh Patterson, big mistake there. Looks like he just bobbled under braking, which swung him out wide. Meanwhile, Ryan Martin, he has just overtaken Jay Mulder for P4. And I believe that moves Martin up into the hard charger position. So, well, that's pretty cool for the driver of the 9. As he's a WORC veteran. If you aren't familiar with Ryan Martin, he has over 100 starts in WORC. He's never won a race. That's one of the things that we always talk about with Ryan Martin. He's had second place finishes. He's actually finished second multiple times in WORC championships. In fact, he has the most second place finishes in WORC championship of any of them. He finished P2 in the Dirt Midget Tour. That just happened, that concluded back in the end of September. And he finished second to me in that point championship run. And then he finished second in the Super Late Model Championship to me as well. So Ryan Martin has a knack of finishing second to me. He also finished second in Season 1 of the Street Stock Series. So he can finish P2, no problem. It's just getting that P1 kind of elusive for Ryan Martin. But he's here every week. He's one of the admins of the league. He's worked his way up into that position. And he's honestly just been a fantastic racer. This being his 115th start here in WORC. He has 3 career poles. He has 25 career top 5s, so he looks to add to that number here with a P4 finish. He has 67 top 10s, that's the most in WORC's history. So he's put down 6,147 laps leading into this race, which equates to about 6,162 miles with all the dirt races, asphalt races, road races, whatever he's ran. So Ryan Martin, always a guy to look for here in WORC, as up front Zen has pulled away from Patterson a little bit, 7/10 the gap, 8/10 now actually, as Patterson, he's made a couple driver mistakes here and have cost him some time. Christian Visconti's up into P3, or P5 excuse me, as he's climbing up the charts here. Henry Klappert's up to P7, Nick Pena ended up on pit road. Looks like he had an incident, and he actually might get passed by Quentin Haley for position. Paul Granata's pulled it off the track. Not sure what happened to Granata, as Haley has just passed Collier there. And he's looking to march his way up into 9th here. If he can get by Pena before Pena gets out of pit road, Haley's got a long way to go on the track as he's just at the carousel. So we'll see how that goes. That moves Klappert up into 7th. Mulder's still 6th here. He's had much damage, looks like just some self-spins. So Visconti up into the top 5. He has the most career top 5s in WORC's history, actually. He always tied with me, but if he gets the top 5 here, he'll break that tie. He currently has 31 top 5s. That equates to a 43% top 5 percentage. He has 71 starts, so some really good numbers here for the driver of the 80 machine. And Patterson, he's closed that gap back up to 3/10 for the lead here. Let's see, Ryan Martin. So Ryan Martin has about a 10-second gap to Blake Kennedy, about 13 seconds to Christian Visconti. So he's just got to try to keep this thing on track here, as the leaders, they'll be coming to 10 to go this time here. As they go through the boot here, nice little right-hander here. Patterson runs really wide there. Not sure. Yeah, it looks like that actually benefit him, as he was able to carry a lot of speed entering the next corner, but he's playing a dangerous game. A number of inches there between him and the grass, and that's not always something that you want to play around with here. As look at how wide he goes. He's really using as much of the track as he can. As with this updated Watkins Glen circuit, if you aren't familiar iRacing, this track was, I want to say it was about 10, 13 years, something like that, outdated. There was grass over here on the exit of turn 1. As you see, that's all pavement now to the left side of that curb. And there was grass on the exit of the second to last corner as well. Both of those have been paved, which is exactly what they are in real life. So Patterson, he's really getting some use out of this updated Watkins Glen circuit. Watkins Glen has also been repaved since the last time it was updated. Lots of factors here for a new Watkins Glen. Putting together a good race here, though, with Patterson. He's been all over the back bumper of Brian Zinn. And if Zinn leads 2 more laps, I want to say, he actually takes the most laps led award by default. And Patterson runs it wide there. So he's definitely giving Zinn a chance to try to get that most laps led award. That is a bonus point. And for Zinn, who was in top 3 contention, had some issues, those would definitely be some crucial points. Henry Klappert still on the lead lap, but looks like he might fall a lap down under pace. He's, let's see here, just coming to the start-finish line now. Zinn and Patterson about midway through the boot, so maybe not. Maybe Klappert's got some time. It just depends if he loses. He's about 1 minute 10. Oh, well, he just stopped and pulled off the racetrack. So Klappert's completed half this race and just gave up, so that'll give up at least 3 positions, 2 to the guys on track, Hunter Collier and Quentin Haley. Not sure what happened with Klappert there. He just pulled off and reset back to the pits. So Zinn and Patterson, Zinn, it's weird. They're playing
a weird game right now. It's kind of like playing with a rubber band almost. Patterson, he gets kind of close to Zin, gets to his back bumper, and then Zin just pulls away a little bit. It just kind of fluctuates between half a tenth and 8/10 every lap, and it seems like Patterson can't just put together a full lap to stay within half a tenth. It seems like Zin can't put together a full lap to pull away from more than 8/10. So right here we see Patterson. He's a lot better through the S's. And entering the bus stop, Patterson will probably have a huge advantage here as he's actually in the draft of that 73. They're coming up on lap traffic. That's Hunter Collier in the 98. So there's that 98 machine. He's a lap down. He'll probably pass Henry Klappert here momentarily as Visconti, Mulder, looked like something happened between them. Maybe not. Collier through that left-hander. He's going to be right in front of these leaders here in the next few corners. Patterson wobbles off exit there. And see, that's what I'm saying. They both keep putting together mistakes that are really... Zin can't pull away, but Patterson, when he closes, can't just get there to make that pass. As we see, he kind of feathered away from the curb there. Down the straightaway here. 2 more corners till they exit the boot back onto the circuit that most people tend to know. Especially if you're a NASCAR fan, you're aware of that. Kennedy, he's P3. He's lost 14 seconds to these leaders. So these leaders, despite being pretty much in a battle, they've put together quite a bit of pace. Being able to hold on here. Yeah, there's some smoke in front of them. I believe Hunter Collier, yeah, he spun off there on the runoff. So luckily they didn't actually encounter that lap traffic. Zin to a 9/10 lead now. Maybe this is where we start to see that 73 pull away. And officially, with half this race led, 10 laps of it actually, Brian Zinn will clinch that most laps led bonus point, so that's huge for him. We mentioned he had some issues in the sprint race, couldn't finish top 3. And in turn, you look at the turnaround of those guys who did get points in the sprint race. Wayne Castile, he wrecked out. He's finishing 14th tonight. So those 10 points are really going to help him out here. Quentin Haley, he finished 3rd. He also found himself wrecked out. So those 5 points are really going to help him there. And on top of that, Josh Patterson, he finished 2nd in the sprint race. So even if he finishes 2nd here in the feature, he should still be the points leader, which is, that's where that sprint race comes in very clutch. You got to get those points, try to keep yourself in the race, because you get a good finish in that sprint race, and I mean, you end up like Castile finishing 14th. Well, you're putting yourself in a position to be good on points here. 6 weeks. It's a long 6 weeks, but 6 weeks is short for a racing season. You've got 6 whole races to go, and if you think about it, it's almost like 12 races. You got the sprints and the featured races. They kind of double each other up, so lots of entertainment to be had here on WORC TV tonight and on OSR Network for the rest of the season. As Blake Kennedy P3. Ryan Martin, he's running himself P4. Still having himself a good run. He's kept that gap between him and Christian Visconti pretty stable. So Visconti, he pulled away from Jay Mulder about 14 seconds. So the only 2 cars really close together on the track right now are these leaders, Zinn and Patterson. Like I said, it's a game of cat and mouse. These guys can't pull away, but they can't close the either. It's back and forth between what they're doing here. And Patterson should have a little bit of right front damage from that incident with Castile in the S's. Fortunately for Patterson, it doesn't seem to be affecting him too much negatively, so. Kennedy, that's a 2-time WORC champion right there. The driver of the 54. Normally he's in the 75. He decided to go with a number swap this season. He brought home the MX5 Cup Challenge Championship last season. That was the iRacing 95 MX5 Cup Challenge. Brought that home in the last race of the season at Lime Rock. Brian Zinn actually won that race, so Zinn looking to win back-to-back races. Patterson's close to a 10th there on him. Kennedy's first championship was actually in the JP Designs Open Wheel Tour, however, utilizing the D-Class Skip Barber cars. He didn't have too much competition for that championship. He won it at Bristol, as we threw some ovals in there, because, you know, why not? And so he took home the win at Bristol, and he placed pretty well in every other race. So I believe he won that championship by like 130 points or something crazy like that. He really had a large championship lead there. So actually, come to think about it, Ryan Martin, I was talking about his second place points finishes earlier. I believe, let me fact check this. I actually believe he was second place in the open wheel tour as well. Let me go double check this real quick. Yeah, Ryan Martin, he was second in the open wheel tour as well, so he has 4 second place championship standing finishes. The driver of the 9. He's put together some great seasons. He's honestly really put himself in championship contention. Just can't ever find himself first, and I'm hoping to see a Ryan Martin win. He's got 17 races on the oval side, well 15 left. He's got another 11 races after this one. He's got 13 dirt oval races. Ooh, we see a little bit of a slide out of him there. Spitting some flames out of the back of his McLaren. He's a guy that I hope to see win. I think he's a guy that most of WORC would like to see win. He doesn't really do anything wrong. Doesn't really have anybody who hates him. I'm sure Ryan hates several people himself, but nobody really hates him. He's always a very clean driver. Doesn't ever really cause wrecks. And like I said, he's always putting himself up in championship contention. And P2 in that Dirt Midget Tour over in the Summer Series. P2 in the Street Stock Season 1. P2 in the Open Wheel Tour Season 1. P2 just 4 times in the championship. That's crazy. So, back up front. That lead that was about 1/10 is now back to 4/10 as these guys continue to play their game of cat and mouse, Patterson and Zinn. And I believe, let me see here for a second. We might have somebody we can interview here real quick. Let's see if we can drag him in. I believe we might be able to drag our series sponsor here in for an interview. We're trying to contact him right now, see if he can hop in here, get a nice little interview. As always, it's good to have an interview. Maybe not. He's looking for the waiting room here. We gotta get him up here in the booth. You know, it's a long walk up here. We have lots of stairs up here to the WORC TV booth. We really like to get your workout in here. We got him here in the waiting room, folks. We'll get him in here for a nice interview. Series sponsor Patrick Jenks. This is the Keystone Corner. As I mentioned, this is the Keystone Corner GT3 Challenge. Patrick, you're in the WORC TV booth, buddy. Do you have a copy? Patrick Jenks, he may not have a copy here. We'll give him just a moment here. See if we can get him on the mic. He's still here in the booth. Meanwhile, back on track, we've been watching Patterson and Zinn bumper to bumper here. And Christian Visconti, he found himself with a little bit of an issue. He spun. He's now 2 seconds, excuse me, about 2.5, 3 seconds behind Jay Mulder. Quinn Haley, he pulled off the racetrack again. So he will stay P9. Henry Klappert will stay 8th. Hunter Collier up to 7th. That's why you don't ever quit. That's why you stay back out on track here. Visconti and Mulder, they're now going to have to duel it out. 2 Outlaw Racing teammates here. They're going to battle it out for P5 on track. As Ryan Martin, he has about 20 seconds on them for P4, so great run for him. Kennedy, he's going to finish P3. And Brian Zinn has hit pit road with 4 laps to go. There was not really any talk of fuel concerns for these cars. And it looks like Zinn, he's going to bring it down pit road. He's going to short pit it here. So that'll give Patterson the lead, and suddenly this race has just changed. Let me double check here. So yeah, Zinn pits. He'll file himself back out in 3rd. So that finds Josh Patterson, Blake Kennedy the top 2, and now we're looking at fuel concerns here. We'll see if we can drag Patrick Jenks. Patrick, you're in the WORC TV booth, buddy. You have a copy. Looks like we don't have a contact with Patrick Jenks here. So we'll see when Josh Patterson chooses to pit here. He's coming out of the boot now. And honestly, we'll have to see when these guys all choose to pit as well. Mulder, Visconti. We'll see if they take fuel, tires. I mean, lots of differences here. Patterson, he's running about 1.5 seconds slower. There he goes down in the pit lane. Looks like Hunter Collier's in the pit lane, which is interesting because he's already been on pit road for that damage. So Patterson, he'll pit there in that Mercedes. Blake Kennedy, we'll see what happens here. Kennedy will bring it down pit road. So now we'll follow Ryan Martin. And of course, we have to check in on Brian Zinn as well. So Zinn, he's short pitted. He will beat Blake Kennedy off of pit road. There's Patterson. So Brian Zinn short pitting. What a strategy here. I think this may have just won him the race. Patterson, he'll come out about 6/10 behind him, but Zinn is at full speed. Patterson is not. And Brian Zinn, he's actually going to get another bonus point here as long as he doesn't run off track. He has 0 incidents in this event. He's actually the only one with 0 incidents. So, very impressive run here for Brian Zinn. And so that fill strategy thing here coming into play. There's Ryan Martin. He just came off of pit road. So Jay Mulder, he has not pit yet. He puts himself P4 for now. Wonder if he'll try to stretch it. Visconti doesn't pit either. So we'll see if those guys have enough fuel to make it. Maybe Mulder can find himself up in a P4. And Visconti, he's closed himself to Ryan Martin. About 8 seconds between them. So lots happening here on the racetrack. Believe it or not, folks. This is not boring yet. As with just 3 laps to go, Brian Zinn has 1.2 seconds on Josh Patterson, and that decision to short pit. Man, Patterson, he actually had a better pit stop than Brian Zinn too. Zinn clocked in about 35.1 seconds down pit lane. Josh Patterson about 34.9. But the big difference there in the box, Brian Zinn spent 7.1 seconds. Josh Patterson spent only 6 seconds in the pit box. And Ryan Martin, he actually was even quicker in the pit box. 5.8 seconds down the box for him, 34.3 down pit lane. So Ryan Martin, your fastest pit stop tonight, folks. Right there in that 9 car. Great job getting down pit lane, great job getting into his box. So great execution from Martin. We'll see here Mulder. He's coming through the second to last corner. We'll see if he pits or not. He's not going to pit here. So he's at 2 to go. Ryan Martin. Maybe these guys didn't really have to pit. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see if Visconti pits here. Maybe these Lambos can run it to the end on fuel. Maybe that's some sort of benefit for them. So Ryan Martin is about 7 seconds behind Jay Mulder for P4. But Blake Kennedy, he came down pit road. He's in a Lamborghini. He had quite a long stop too. 7.5 in the box, 36.7 down pit lane. And Josh Patterson, he's just lost all time on Brian Zinn. That short pit strategy. I mean, wow. Great pit strategy here. They've been bumper to bumper the whole race, but those pit stops are what's going to do it. Josh Patterson, he's a great driver, especially on the racetrack. You get him in just driving position, that 02 car is going to run up front. But when it comes down to pit strategy here, Brian Zinn takes the white flag 2.7 seconds ahead of Patterson. Patterson, he just struggles with other factors, and that's what keeps him competitively balanced, I guess. He's not very keen on the whole pit strategy thing. If I was him, I would have pit with Brian Zinn the second I saw him pit, because short pitting in road always seems to work out better for the guy who short pit than the guy who pit later. And that gap was not very big entering pit road. So Patterson, just a big mistake there on his part as he continues to lose sight of the 73. Zinn looking to make a big statement here. Started from the pole due to the invert, held off Patterson for the first 16-ish laps. Pit with about 4 to go, something like that. Jay Mulder, he has not pit at all. He is on his last lap now. He's about a 5-second lead over Ryan Martin. Christian Visconti, he's not pit either. So these guys somehow saved fuel. So it's about a 5-second gap that Martin has to close in a lap and a half here. 2 corners to go. 1 corner to go for Brian Zinn, however. He'll come around the final corner. He will win the season opener here at the Keystone Corner GT3 Challenge. He is your GGR Challenge at Watkins Glen winner. As the pit strategy puts this race together, he leads every single lap here tonight. Josh Patterson will come on P2. Blake Kennedy, he's going to round out the podium. And fight's on between Mulder and Martin. They're on the white flag here. There's about 3.5 seconds between them. 3 corners to go. Mulder self-spins! Mulder has just spun himself out. If Ryan Martin keeps it on track, he might get the position here. Sir, they're going to be side by side here for P4. Martin and Mulder. Oh man, Jay Mulder, he almost had a great pit strategy here. Martin backs it off. What's going to happen here in the last corner? Martin is not going to pass Jay Mulder there. He was really slow going through that corner. And Mulder will take 4th without pitting. Martin 5th. Visconti 6th. And it looks like Hunter Collier, he pulled it onto pit road. So Brian Zinn was your race winner here, folks, tonight. He's no longer on the racetrack. But don't go anywhere. If you want to hear the post-race interviews, we'll bring in your podium. Brian Zinn, Josh Patterson, and Blake Kennedy. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back here after this commercial break.
The field is rolling on the back straightaway.
Get ready. This is going to be tight. Out of turn 4, ladies and gentlemen. The All-American 400 is underway.
Got to be careful. The bumps here can get you every time. Entering the corner, exiting the corner.
Alright folks, we are live back here once again. We're going to be doing post-race interviews here with the podium finishers here in tonight's event. We're going to bring in race winner Brian Zinn. Brian, you're in the WORC TV booth, buddy. Do you have a copy?
I do indeed.
Well, Brian, man, that sprint race was a little rough for you. You were in position to get a top three. A little bit of contact there between you and Quentin Haley. He was on the curve. You were trying to arc your corner. Ultimately cost you a chance at those top 3 points. But fortunately, you finished fifth, which was able to put the invert in your favor. And you had a lot of competition from Josh Patterson for most of this race. When did you mentally make that decision to try to short pit to get a gap on the O2 there?
Honestly, I was just kind of looking at my lap times. I didn't really want to pit if I had a slow in lap. And so that particular lap, I had a decent pace, and I felt like the gap to Josh had kind of stabilized for a little bit. So I decided to take a gamble and go in there and hope for the best, and it paid off. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, ultimately, I believe you won by about 4 something seconds. You definitely pulled away there on sheer pace after the pit stop cycle here. Um, so you're a veteran here of WORC. You've ran our road series from the Miatas. You were the GT3 Season 1 champion. You were here for that multi-class series. The
Hmm.
sprint feature format, brand new here to WORC, trying to add to the racing here on the road side of things, add to the participation. It's the most car count we've ever had for any of our GT3 races so far, and there was a lot of racing action between the two races. Tell me your thoughts on the sprint feature format, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, and your overall feedback.
I was skeptical at first, just because it's not something you really see in GT racing in real life. But I think it was pretty entertaining. As you let off the interview with, we had some inadvertent contact. I can't put that on Quentin. He probably saw the door was open when it probably wasn't. But that's what's going to come when you have a short feature or a short format race, I should say, with only 8 laps. And Watkins Glen always lends itself to having a lot of passing opportunities anyway, which is something that we haven't always had. If I go back to the MX5 series and even GT3 season 1, so it was nice to have a good group of cars that could mix it up and be able to pass one another and have some good competition. Um, so I think it's interesting. I think it's going to play out in the long run with the championship and kind of points calculation. Do you, if you're running in that third or fourth spot, do you try and fight to get some sprint race points, or hang back and try and get the benefit of starting higher up in the feature race? I think that's going to be an interesting challenge that's going to present itself, especially over 6 races. So I'm excited to see how it plays out. I was skeptical, but I think I'm coming around to it after today.
All right, man. Well, as always, you never know how something's going to turn out till it actually plays out. So, the racing was definitely exciting. That sprint race had honestly quite a lot of passing, and the feature was honestly the one with most of the chaos. I mean, the sprint had its chaos, but it was kind of all sorted out. Everyone in the feature decided to try to win the race in the S's. So, ultimately, though, a great run by you here. Um, 16 laps led, most laps led bonus point. I believe you finished with a 0x. That's also another bonus point. So you're really racking up those bonus points here, despite not getting that top three in the sprint. So it's all going to come down to the end of the 6 weeks. But before we let you go after your week 1 win here, Brian, who would you like to thank for tonight?
I just want to thank Josh for being good competition as always. He gave me a great battle, and I hope that he thinks I drove him fairly. He said so after the race, so I'm taking that to be true. But it was good fun out there, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations on the win. A great start to your season here for the 6-week campaign, and we'll see if you're here next week in the booth. You tend to be in the booth here on these road races, so we'll see you around, man. Next week's event will be on OSR Network, so make sure, folks, you go subscribe to them. And once again, congratulations, Brian, on tonight's victory.
Thanks, Braison. Have a good one.
There is Brian Zinn. He comes home P1 here. We're going to have to bring in P2 to the booth. That is Josh Patterson. He's also familiar with the broadcast booth here on WORC TV and just in WORC races in general. Patterson, you're in the WORC TV booth, buddy. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, I know you're you're racing a little sick here. I actually kind of forgot to mention it on broadcast. Driver of the O2 has the flu here. He's not even allowed to talk to his own family, so I'm surprised he's allowed to talk to me
Yay.
here in the booth. I'm gonna maintain my distance here. Um, Ultimately, though, a night of P2s for you. P2 in qualifying, P2 in the sprint, P2 in the feature. It
Oh, I
just
didn't even realize that.
it didn't it didn't lead up into your favor, unfortunately, to come home with any wins tonight. But a great points night. I believe it might put you in the points lead, or at least close to it, with those sprint points. So I asked Brian a similar question here as a veteran of WORC. What are your thoughts on the sprint feature format? What'd you like about it? What'd you not like about it?
I don't know. I thought it was good. It mixed up the field. I think it definitely helped Brian. No fault of his own, obviously. He had speed and he was quick. But I think it was fun to go out there and have a good battle with Wayne in the heat. Unfortunately, we made some contact. I'm not sure what happened. I have to go look at the replay, but it looked like he didn't give me enough room. We made contact. He went around, which was unfortunate for the feature. But yeah, I mean, I genuinely enjoyed both the heat and the feature. I think it's a very good format, and I recommend. Yes, good.
Now, back to back to the finishes of both of these races. That sprint race, you were all over the back bumper of Wayne Castile. Couldn't quite get the move made though. And then here with Brian Zinn, it comes down to pit strategy. He short pits. You try to stay it out, and ultimately you lose quite a bit of time there. Um, did you think that the short pit strategy would work out in his favor, or what was it about that pit strategy that cost you that time there at the end?
See, I know you didn't see it, but I actually was going on a mega push lap when he pit because I wanted to get an extra lap on him. And coming out of the carousel, I plonked the wall, and it knocked my steering out. It just completely killed my car. I lost like a second a lap. So I just every lap after I just lost time. And thing is, I think I closed the gap just a tiny bit between when he pit and then when I got out of pits, which means that if I didn't hit the wall, I think the strategy would have actually worked. But yeah, it just I killed myself there essentially. So yeah, I just unfortunate and resulted in me pushing too hard.
Well, intriguingly, your car never showed signs of damage, so honestly, that's why I missed it. That's weird. Well, before we let you go, Josh, P2 in the sprint. Oh, there you go, plonk on the wall. Um,
Thanks.
so P2 in the sprint here, P2 in the feature. Before we let you go, buddy, who do you like to thank tonight?
I got to thank everybody at Dynamo Racing, powered by Limeade Media. Everything they do week to week, help me out. And Tyson just got iRacing, so that's a big dub for the team. I gotta thank Dynamo Designs, Limeade Media, Belfour Property Restoration, Vulture Racing Engines, Patriot Clutches, 704 Sports Update, the Keystone Corner, EVC Automotive, the coveted Henry Cam, WORC TV Broadcasting, and I gotta thank you for broadcasting and running the league. I put on some good events here. I always enjoy running, and gotta thank everybody for coming out tonight and giving me a good race. And yeah, I gotta give congrats to Brian on the win.
All right, folks, that's Josh Patterson, your WORC all-time wins leader. Unfortunately, didn't add to that tonight, but great run nevertheless, putting himself in great championship position here to start the season. Once again, Josh, congratulations on the podium, and we'll see you around.
Thanks, Braison. See you soon.
All right, so Josh, leading those 2 laps actually did give him a bonus point, and we're going to bring in P3 now, the final driver on the podium, Blake Kennedy. Blake, you're in the WORC TV booth, buddy. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I do.
All right, well, unfortunately, ATVO has glitched out, and I went to pull it back up, so there we go. All right, Blake, podium finish here. You were a little off and on. You had a rough sprint race, but you avoided the big one there in the S's. I didn't quite catch everything that happened, so run me through your point of view there of all that chaos in the S's on lap 1.
I don't even really know. I was just right moment, the right time. I was stuck to the inside, and I mean, I guess I don't know what the first car to spin was, but I guess it was Quentin at 13, and he'd spun directly right behind me, so I was just barely able to avoid that. But yeah, regardless, I think I did have pace for at least 3rd place. I don't think I had 1 or 2 pace, but yeah, the sprint race was really rough, so I couldn't really prove that until the feature.
All
But
right,
still,
sorry, you go ahead. I thought you were done.
I was just saying, but still, there just wasn't enough cars even to prove I was fast. It's kind of unfortunate. I wish there was more of a race, but it happens.
Yeah, I mean, you avoided the chaos though, and it's about keeping that car clean at the end there. As a two-time WORC champion, I've asked everyone else in the booth this question so far. That sprint feature format, brand new to WORC, trying to spice up the road racing stuff here. What were your thoughts on it, Blake?
I mean, I don't see really too much of a difference. I think it does definitely create more action, but from my point of view, I didn't really like it too much because I got wrecked. But hopefully in the future, I might grow to love it. But I think it's got potential for sure, and we'll see.
All right, Blake. Well, before I let you go, after your great podium finish tonight, would you like to thank anybody?
Yeah, I want to thank you for broadcasting this. I know out of the blue, but I hope you did a great job. And I want to thank Jay and Hunter and Ryan for being really courteous and letting me by a few times in the sprint and feature. I was nice of them and definitely repay the favor someday. Um, and yeah, top three finish. Hopefully, I can keep it going and maybe sneak another championship.
All right, folks. Well, Blake Kennedy, two-time WORC champion, both times in the Road Course Series, so he's definitely got that attribute to him. Coming off the championship in the Summer Series, the iRacing 95 MX5 Cup Challenge, and he built on that with the third-place finish tonight. He's got another 5 races to go here before he can truly see if he's going to bring home a third championship or not. But once again, congratulations, Blake, on the podium and a great start to your season.
Thank you.
All right, folks. That was Blake Kennedy, and that will do it for us here tonight from WORC TV. We thank you guys for tuning in. As I mentioned, this will be the only event here on WORC TV, so make sure you guys go out, check out OSR Network. They'll be broadcasting the rest of the season here on the Road Series and as well as the Limeade Media Dirt Late Model Tour. Limeade Media Dirt Late Model Tour runs on Tuesday nights. 7 p.m. Eastern Time is when the broadcast will start for that. Those sessions are usually open at 6:30. If you're interested in racing, join us today on Discord at discord.gg/h6zq8au. That's our Discord link right there. K Bueno Racing Network, KBRN on YouTube. They broadcast Thursday nights, our Dynamo Designs National Series, so make sure you go check them out as well. Leave them a follow, subscribe, whatever you can do there to help support those two broadcasters. They're in it for the long run here this winter series. Otherwise, thank you guys for tuning in to the WORC, the Keystone Corner GT3 Challenge. The Keystone Corner, make sure you go follow him on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/the Keystone Corner. Also, go make sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel and his TikTok. Those have the same names, the Keystone Corner. So make sure you go check him out today. And thank him for sponsoring both.